This is completely unnecessary.
That was Boxy Bao's reaction when he saw this photo on social media. Racist graffiti spray painted in several locations across his own Perth community.
I feel uncomfortable, and I'm not a fan of those words because people are using like Wuhan virus or Chinese virus. It just doesn't make sense.
Instead of complaining about it, Bao and his friend Bo Yong-ho decided to do something about it.
We had a short conversation about those graffitis, and then I'll decide to get it removed.
The pair informed their local council and set about cleaning up several sites. While the goal wasn't recognition, that's exactly what they received for their efforts from the Western Australia Police Force. A growing number of Asian Australians say they've noticed a rise in racism lately.
There's always a little bit going on in the background, but in the context of COVID-19 and the corona pandemic, we really have seen it increase.
In fact, Australia's Human Rights Commission says about 1 out of every 4 people who filed racial discrimination complaints in the last few months says they were targeted because of the global pandemic. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison offered some blunt advice last month when asked about Australian Asians being targeted over the virus.
Stop it. That's my message. And I think that's the message of every Australian. Now is a time to support each other. And I remind everyone that it was Chinese Australians in particular that provided one of the greatest defences we had in those early weeks. They were the ones who first went into self-isolation. They were the ones who were returning from family visits up into China, and they were coming home. And it was through their care, it was through their commitment, their patience, that actually Australia was protected in that first wave. I mean, within a week of our first case, we'd shut off travel from those from China, except for Australians returning home. And so absolutely, I deplore that sort of behaviour against any Australian, regardless of their ethnicity, of their religion, or whatever it happens to be.
I think someone needs to just step up and then doing something instead of just keep quiet.
Which is why Bao says he plans to continue cleaning up racist messages like this, regardless of what community they're aimed at. Greg Navarro, CGTN, Sydney.